Hello there, Wib here, and today I'm going to be showing you a mod called the Angry Creatures mod, and this mod adds loads of new mobs into Minecraft, and they vary in types. So to start off, I'm going to show you the new ocean mobs, which is actually in a new ocean update of the mod. So first up, we've got the golden fish, and the golden fish is golden as you'd expect considering it's called a golden fish. And if we go down here and kill one, you can see that it drops 2 gold nuggets as well as a fish. So you can eat that fish and make some gold out of those golden nuggets, so quite useful, and that's the golden fish. And they've got low health and they don't attack you, so they're quite peaceful things really, so don't know why you'd really want to kill them. But next up we've got the bubble pain, and the bubble pain's got a really interesting name, and they look like miniature gas I suppose. And these are actually aggressive, so if I go down here you'll see I'm going to start taking hits, like that. And they're quite aggressive really, and I think the poison is actually from these things over here and not from these. These just damage you slightly. And they're quite aggressive if you haven't got a lot of armour on. I've actually got diamond armour, so you can imagine they'd take your health down quite fast if you didn't. And these actually drop something called pain jelly balls. So if I put these on my hotbar here and then eat them, you can actually eat these. You can see it gives me the water breathing effect, so I can stay underwater for longer without getting damaged and losing air and stuff like that. So next up we've got something called the sponge fish, and the sponge fish is very aggressive. It poisons you as well as hurts you, like that. And it takes all your hunger away, which is not very nice at all. So I need to get some golden apples before I start dying. There we go. Eat one of those, or a few of those. So you lose hunger really fast when you get hit by one of these, so trying to take these on is not a very wise idea. Because even with full diamond armour, I'm losing a lot of health, but there is 3 of them I suppose. And these actually drop a load of things. They drop 2 raw fish, some sponge, and some pain jelly balls. So that's a good way of getting sponge back into Minecraft, considering there's never been a way to actually obtain sponge, and they're really cool. But next up we've got something called a hellfish, and the hellfish is again peaceful like the golden fish, and they've got the same model. And these actually drop fire as well as cooked fish, so they're quite useful if you want to get food fast. I don't know what biomes they spawn in, but they don't spawn in the nether as you'd probably guess. They just spawn in the normal world, in rivers or oceans. I don't really know yet, but there you go. And you can see I've got some cooked fish as well as some fire. So the fire is kind of an interesting drop, but that's one way to obtain it. And using the fire you could actually craft yourself some chain armour if you really wanted. And so yeah. Next up we've got the shark, which is the final ocean mob that this mod adds. And you can see it's kind of clipping into the blocks. I don't know how I can fix that. Maybe I'll just spawn a shark on the land so you can actually get a good look of it. So there we go, that's the shark, and it appears to be walking on land. That's kind of freaky. But once you kill one of these, now it's got stuck in a block. It doesn't have the ability to jump yet. And there we go, and you can see it drops lapis blocks like that. So next up I'm going to be showing you the land mobs that this mod adds. So I'm going to start off with the jungle lizard, and I'm going to leave the Nth Lord till last because it's very destructive and it's going to blow up the whole world pretty much because they're really dangerous. But this is the jungle lizard, and it is aggressive if you're in survival mode, and it will attack you, and I think it takes off 2 hearts per hit. And it also has a really cool model and texture, so you can see it's got like a tongue as well as a fin on the back. I don't know what you'd really call it. It looks like a fin, so I'll just call one of those. And you can actually kill this, obviously, and it's got quite a lot of health. But once you've killed it, it will drop spider eyes and fermented spider eyes, which I suppose you could use for potions or something like that. But next up, I'm going to show you the Obsidian Lizard, I think it is. Yep, it is. And you can see it's got like an obsidian texture to it, and it's got like little spiky things on the back and a tongue again. And it's also got a cool little particle effect which is around it, because it teleports around, as I'll show you later, so it's pretty much like an enderman. Although these particle effects seem to look like the enchanting table particle effects, where it draws in information from the books around it, I suppose. So if we go in here and start attacking it, you'll notice that it has a lot of health. And again, if you're in survival mode, these are aggressive and they'll set you on fire. And because they have a lot of health, they're really dangerous, so you really need to be careful and really prepared to actually take these on. But the rewards of this are quite great because it drops some obsidian shards which you can use to make an obsidian sword, which I can show you later. But you can see once you've killed it, it drops obsidian shards and portal blocks, which is quite interesting. So you can use these portal blocks to fast travel to the nether without having to get loads of obsidian. Although each time you kill the lizard, it does drop a load of obsidian, so you could probably just make yourself a portal, I suppose. That much simpler. So it drops quite a lot of obsidian every time you kill the obsidian lizard, so it's a really good way of farming obsidian, although you need to be prepared to fight them. So next up I'm going to show you what I've been leaving till last, and that is the Nth Lord. So the Nth Lord is very aggressive. Actually I better set it to daytime again like that. And this, if I start attacking him now, is very dangerous. There's a reason why I'm still in creative, because it also makes it rain. But the reason I'm still in creative because these would actually kill me even if I had full armor. And you can see it explodes into little versions of itself, and then if you kill the little versions they'll explode into smaller versions. But these guys drop magical sticks which you need for later on, and those magical sticks can be used to make weapons and stuff, which I'll get into later on in the video. But you can see these guys explode every time you kill them, and they're very look at all those explosions, and they also fire lightning down to try and set you on fire. And also, if you're at a range, they will fire poison darts at you, so that'll be quite hard to get near to them without getting poisoned. And they just keep splitting up into real small things, really. And eventually you will kill them, and they'll drop an array of different stuff. I think it's there we are. So you can see they've dropped magic sticks, apples, logs, and leaves. If you really want to get leaves that way, you could do it the ultra hard way. But now I'm going to turn the rain off because it's a bit annoying. But there we go. So. And now it looks like they're crying. Oh, that looks like a cute little baby Nth Lord. But there you go. So that's all the land mobs pretty much. And now I'm going to show you the mobs that are actually added that spawn in the nether. So off to the nether. So the first nether mob I'm going to show you is called the soul sand snail. And these are basically snails made out of soul sand and glowstone as the shell. And these things are aggressive, so they will chase after you. But let's just face it, they're snails, so they're not really going to be going lightning speeds, are they? You can easily loop around them and they'll never hit you once. And if they do hit you, it's only about half a heart, so they're not really that damaging. Although they do give you potion effects, so if I just get hit here, you see they give me blindness like that. And now I'm taking more damage. So it's quite interesting, they do give you blindness, although I can't really tell the difference between blindness and non-blindness. And also they do give you slowness, so they'll slow you down because they're snails and they want to share their slowness with you. And once you kill these, if I can actually kill one, they do have a lot of health, so bear that in mind. It's going to take a lot of hits before they die. Come on, die snails. You're easy to squish in real life. No, that's evil. Never step on snails. They have families. Okay, anyway, so if you keep hitting them, they'll eventually die. God, they're really strong. I'm guessing the shell is like armor. And you can see that they've dropped a few things. Just want to kill this one so it doesn't chase me around and haunt me. And you can see it's dropped some soul sand, some glowstone, and some snail shells, which you can use later on to craft something called the fire staff. But the next mob I'm going to show you is called the Glowstone Monster. And if we spawn one of these in here, it's quite a threatening looking thing, although it does look like it permanently wants to hug you. I mean, look at that, it wants to hug you, look. And you can see it's got a slight little mouth on its face. But there you go, that's the Glowstone Monster. It walks in a weird way too, if you look at that. Its legs slide over each other, leg segments. I think we're going to go into creative for this, otherwise I'm going to die. But the Glowstone Monster does give you very intense blindness when you go anywhere near it. So if it hits you, you're going to be blinded, you won't be able to see a thing. But when you kill it, it drops 32 glowstone, and it's got quite a lot of health. Come on, die. Yeah, a very lot of health, and it's very damaging, so make sure you're armoured before you take it on. But there you go. So yeah, that's the Glowstone Monster. I think just before I show you the next mob, I'm going to go into survival and see what happens to me. Yeah, that was very aggressive, like 4 hearts per hit. So yeah, don't take one of those on without having armour, because that would be drastic. So the final mob in this mod, or angry creature, or whatever you want to call it, is the Cactus Monster. So if we spawn one of these, they quickly run after you and they do hurt you a bit, and as well they give you slowness 6, so you can't run away from them more, and then they keep taking half heart damage off you, and then you just kill them. So they're not really that tough, and they don't really damage you that much, but they're just a bit of an annoyance when you're in deserts, which are normally very peaceful during the day, but those are going to change all that. But there you go, so that's the Cactus Monster, and yep, as you can tell they are pricks. No, that was a terrible pun. Oh well, so yeah, that's all the mobs in the mod, and the Cactus Monsters actually drop 2 cacti and 5 spikes, so if you wanted to get cactus the hard way, you could just kill those mobs and not actually just go up to a cactus and, break the bottom like any normal person would do. You'd just waste your durability on your sword and kill one of those. I think they should probably drop something better than just spikes and cacti, since you can craft those easily just from cacti. So maybe something more of an incentive to kill those. But yeah, that's all the mobs in this mod. Now I'm going to go on to the weapons and items that this mod adds. So next I'm going to be showing you the items and weapons that this mod adds. So to start off, I'm going to show you something called the fire staff, and this one's quite self-explanatory because it just sets mobs on fire. But to craft this, you're going to need to go to the nether and kill some of those soul sand snails, and then it will drop some snail shells, and these snail shells can be put in the crafting grid, and then you can craft some snail shell shards. That's like a tongue twister to say, don't try and say that. And then you put that on top of 2 sticks and you craft yourself the fire staff. So if we put down a cow and start attacking it with this fire staff, you can see it sets the mob on fire, and it kills it in 2 hits pretty much, so it's quite an effective weapon really, and quite cheap. But next up we've got something called the Obsidian Blade, and it looks like this. Kind of awesome texture. And to craft the Obsidian Blade, you're going to need to kill some of those Obsidian Lizards, because they drop the Obsidian shards which are needed for this crafting recipe. It's crafted in the same way as any normal sword, and the Obsidian Blade is very powerful. It can pretty much one-hit all mobs like that. You can see it died instantly, so it's quite an effective weapon if you want to kill loads of mobs at once, I suppose. But next up we've got something called the Weather Stick. Now the Weather Stick is again quite self-explanatory. It just turns the weather to rain and stops it raining and stuff like that. So you can craft this using magical sticks which you get dropped by the Nth Lords, which I showed you earlier, and then you just put lapis on top of that and you get yourself a weather stick. And if you right click with this, it will start making it rain. So any minute now it should start raining. Yep, it's got darker and now it's raining, so yeah. And it also works the other way, you can turn the rain off, and that's probably what most people would use this for, turning the rain off, because it's so annoying. But there you go, so now it's going to brighten up and we're back to the lovely sunny weather again. So yeah, that's the weather stick. Next up we've got the creature stick. Now the creature stick is a very interesting concept, because it just spawns like these little mobs wherever you right click. But first off, to craft this you're going to need some magical sticks, which again you get from the Nth Lords, and then 3 lapis around it, and then you craft yourself the creature stick. So if we just go over here and then actually, yep, there we go, and right click, you can see it spawns 4 of these little animals whenever, well, don't know what you'd really call them, I think they're animals, but these guys will actually protect you. So if I like spawn a zombie, let me just get some zombie spawn eggs. So if we place down a zombie, and then you can see they start attacking it because it's an aggressive mob and they want to kill it. And I think they fire these poison dart things which poisons it and hits it and hurts it. So there we go. These are very nice mobs to protect you if you spawn loads of them. And that's pretty much the creature stick. But next up we've got the lightning staff. And the lightning staff you can craft using 2 magical sticks and a block of gold. And then the lightning staff, you can probably guess what this one's going to do. When you fire it down, it's just going to set wherever you right click on fire with lightning strikes like that. So all those mobs very effectively dispatched. Really feel evil for picking on cows, but that's the only mob I've got on my hotbar at the moment, so that's what I'm going to be using. Next time I'll use sheep or something. But that's the lightning staff, a very effective weapon. I recommend using this a lot. I wonder if it actually works underground. We can test that out. So if we go under here where there's no light at the surface, so there's no way the lightning strikes could get here. Yep, so you can't use it underground, so bear that in mind. You're not going to be able to use this in caves, so it's quite useless in that regard. But finally we've got something called the spike. Now this is a really simple crafting recipe. All you need to do is put a cactus in the crafting grid, and you craft yourself 5 spikes. And you can fire these at mobs just by right clicking at the mob. So if I spawn like another cow, you can just fire these little pellet things which are properly displayed so you can see where they're firing. And it takes about 5 hits to kill the cow, and it's quite an effective weapon. Although you're probably better off using one of the swords that this mod adds. Although if you're in a desert, you've got an abundance of cacti. I nearly said cactus then, so I had to correct it to cacti. You can actually use the cacti as a weapon, which is pretty awesome. So I'm guessing these are the spikes off the side of the cacti. So there we go. So that's all the items and weapons that this mod adds. So the final feature of this mod is that it adds loads of different kinds of coloured glowstone into Minecraft. They don't actually support all the different colours of wool in glowstone form, but it supports most of them, because you're never really going to need the other kind of glowstone colours, since they don't really vary much from these. So there we go, you can have coloured glowstone. The glow, I believe, is still the same colour, so it will still glow yellow, it won't like glow red. Maybe that's something that'll be added in the future, but there you go. And to craft these, all you're going to need to do is put like rose red dye and the glowstone block in the inventory like you'd craft coloured wool. And then you craft yourself a red glowstone block, because I put it with rose red dye. And if you put it with an ink sac, you'll craft yourself a black glowstone block. And you can place these down, and there you go. So if we turn to night time, just to see if it does glow a different colour. Nope, they still glow the same colour. It'd be cool if these ones like glowed the colour of glowstone that they actually are, so like yellow and red glow and green glow, but there we go. So that's pretty much everything for the mod. Thank you for watching, and definitely check this mod out. It's got a load of cool little features, like the weapons are really effective, so you could use those to vary up the combat in Minecraft a bit, I suppose. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next video.